started off family night with a little bit more of a family focus than we've seen in past years. This year, players and coaches ran out of the tunnel with their family members onto the field. It was a touching sight and really made some great memories for these families. As we get into the practice, let's look at who didn't participate. So David Bakhtiari remained out, as he's been out since Tuesday. New to the list of inactives, though, was Elton Jenkins, who was out with an illness, and Lou Nichols, who was unspecified for exactly the reason that he missed practice. And those that have still been out for a period of time include Gary, Stokes, Dubose, Jake Hansen, who was out with an elbow, and Josiah DeGuara, who's still out with a calf. It's interesting to note, too, that since Family Night, there was an unofficial depth chart that came out, and Josiah DeGuara is now listed as a fullback rather than as a tight end, which doesn't necessarily change materially what he's going to do on the field. It's just a difference in identifying where you're really kind of charting him. So primarily looking at him out of the backfield rather than as an inline tight end. As we check out some of the one-on-one drills between the receivers and cornerbacks, we see that, for instance, Jordan Love took a minute to kind of settle in. Ultimately, it's probably just some, first night jitters, first time out in Lambeau in front of the big crowd as QB1. Here, for instance, we see Danny Etling connecting with Jadakiss Bonds on the left sideline. And Etling put together one of his better practices of camp so far, but it was all essentially too little too late, as Etling was released following Family Night on Sunday. Another nice pass here from Etling to Samori Toure down the sideline, where he makes a nice over-the-shoulder catch. And then Tyler Davis on this in route here. It felt a bit slow at the top of that break, really trying to force the stem outside before he breaks in. But Davis has had a nice performance, generally speaking, especially as a blocker, being probably the standout blocking tight end so far in camp. And then Love's back up here again as he hits Malik Heath on an inbreaker. Heath has had a really nice camp so far and finds himself firmly in the conversation for wide receiver 6, a spot that'll likely come down to their special teams versatility. Here's a great clip of Luke Musgrave absolutely torching Darnell Savage. You see his speed as he gets on top of Darnell Savage, and then right at that stem of the route before he breaks, he really loses Darnell and just leaves him in the dirt. We saw a bit more of his employment in this kind of same way in the team drills as well. And here, Jaden Reed works against Keyshawn Nixon in the slot, has a nice release, and then really gains some separation on that quick slant. And then Love is back again, going deep here to one of his favorite targets, Romeo Doubs. You'll see a bit later that, early on, Jordan Love missed Doubs on one of these in team drills again, but expect to see a lot of this into the year, especially as defenses shift coverage over the top of Christian Watson, since he's more of the visible deep threat. Moving a bit closer from the goal line, 10-yard line or so, we see a few misses here to Samori Toure and then to Tucker Kraft. But working against Dallin Levitt, we're able to see Austin Allen win on this route on a nice pass from Jordan Love. And then we've got a fade ball from Love to Christian Watson here with Valentine in coverage. You'd like to probably see a bit more of kind of working through that contact from Christian Watson, but given that this is practice, I wouldn't be surprised if some of that physicality is left on the table. And then Anthony Johnson Jr., a name that we haven't heard a whole lot out of from the safety position, just absolutely smothers Luke Musgrave here on this coverage. Really nice rep by Johnson Jr. After a few missed fades from Danny Etling, Love was back up and can't quite connect with Bo Melton on that fade there. Then Love comes back to the other corner of the end zone with a nice ball and a great catch by Tyler Davis. And then in nearly the same spot, Malik Heath really sells the inside release on William Hooper and gets a ton of separation for Love to find him in the corner of the end zone. Easy pitch and catch. Etling back in again, and he can't quite connect with Cody Crest on this ball, with decent coverage by Tyrell Ford. Ultimately, that's a pass that Cody Crest ought to catch. And Austin Allen shows Cody Crest up a little bit with this beautiful one-handed grab. With Love back up, he tries the other corner of the end zone here for Tucker Kraft, and is able to draw a flag on the play from the coverage. As we move out of the one-on-one stuff, we do see Jordan Love hit a bucket from about the 10-yard line in the corner of the end zone. A throw we saw him connect on a few times in those one-on-one drills as well. But as we got into the team period, as I kind of alluded to earlier, it was a little bit of a slow start for Jordan Love. Can't quite connect here on this pass out to the flat to A.J. Dillon. And then he puts just a little bit too much heat on this ball deep for Romeo Doubs, as I also alluded to. But eventually, as he started to settle in, Jordan Love, the playmaker, showed up. Here, the pocket started to collapse. He finds some space out to the left, kind of stalls, and then finds Aaron Jones in the end zone for a touchdown. Now, some will argue that, the rush would have gotten to him in this situation and that it would have ultimately been a sack. But you can still see some of the decision making that he's going through here and just really trying to keep his eyes downfield and make plays with his arm rather than using his legs outside of the pocket. Then also down in the red zone on this next play, we see, really the different arm angles that Jordan's able to throw from, kind of side-arming both that throw to Jones and then also this one to Jayden Reed. And Reed on that play was really able to find himself wide open, largely in fact due to the motion that he came in across the formation. As the ball was snapped, you see motion out of the backfield of Reed and Jones both going in the same direction, and the linebacker really follows Jones, and then Reed is just left there in a stop route wide open. And earlier I mentioned how Malik Heath was having a nice camp. Here, Danny Etling connects with him again on this touchdown. A nice clean crossing route where he beat Corey Ballantyne in coverage, but struggled a little bit to get up there for that Lambeau lead. Nonetheless, the fans love it. Sean Clifford and Tucker Kraft get in on the action in the red zone too, where he finds a nice pass between Anthony Johnson Jr. and Innis Gaines. And this was another play where Jayden Reed was in motion pre-snap, just kind of getting back to some of those foundations of the illusion of complexity, where we're running multiple plays that look and feel the same pre-snap. But wait, there's more. Alex Magoo finds Manuel Wilson for the touchdown here in the red zone as well. As we move out of the red zone period and into what looked like the 2-minute period here, Jordan Love connects deep across the middle with Luke Musgrave. As we look at a bit more of a all-22 kind of angle here, you just see how Luke Musgrave is able to get the depth past the linebackers who really just can't keep up with his speed and coverage, and there is just a wide open area. And that's really the mismatch that we're looking for with Luke Musgrave, where linebackers aren't going to be able to run with him and safeties aren't going to be big enough to really contend with his physicality as well. I expect that there will be weeks where Luke Musgrave just torches defense that are ill-equipped to match up with him, really. And then follow that up with a quick hitter to Christian Watson here on a slant route, and we're back in business. Watson quickly gets Corey Ballantyne on steals, and it's an easy catch in that window between the nickelback and the cornerback. And then follow that right back up with another shot to Christian Watson here on a 50-50 ball with Corey Ballantyne in coverage again. As we see a few more angles of that, we'll actually see that Corey Ballantyne's in pretty good position. It's just a matter of he gets his head around a little bit late and isn't able to get his hand up to react to that pass to deflect it away just in time. So chalk it up for 6 points for the offense. As we look at this next play, keep an eye on Lucas Van Ness in the bottom of the pass rush against Zach Tom. Van Ness is able to get some early pressure on this, but Tom holds up well, and Jordan Love steps up and is able to make this completion to Jayden Reed. Another nice thing about this completion is Jordan Love can't quite get it to Jayden Reed on that first window, but he waits for Reed to clear the linebacker, and the second window is wide open for him. And then here, Bo Melton makes a nice contested catch on the sideline against Corey Ballantyne. He's another name that's been rising in the receiver room, really, throughout camp, stacking together some nice performances day over day. But that guy that I keep coming back to is going to make this catch right here, and that's Malik Heath. And really, I can't tell based on this angle of it who exactly Sean Clifford was looking for, as you saw Tucker Kraft coming across the screen there, and then at the last second, Malik Heath takes that ball. It wasn't all just passing game in this practice, so we did see a little bit of run action where we saw Aaron Jones just there. And then A.J. Dillon on this toss play is able to break it and really get into the end zone here. Really, it's a pretty close call, but I'm banking on the fact that A.J. Dillon is going to carry somebody into the end zone with him. And it wasn't all just offense either. The defense did make some plays out there as well. And here we see a nice stunt between Devontae Wyatt and Kenny Clark, and really Wyatt's able to get in Jordan Love's face on this play. But I think the standout player on defense today was Tariq Carpenter. Making that move from safety to linebacker isn't necessarily easy for him, but he made a number of plays today where, one, he picked off Sean Clifford here, and then as you'll see in the next clip, he was really opportunistic on a play where Benny Sapp was able to jar the ball loose from Dontavion Wicks on a slant route. pair all of that with the fact that he was a core special teams contributor last year, and I would say he's making very good headway to be back on the roster. Speaking of teams, though, here we just got some fun with Keyshawn Nixon catching as many punts as he can while holding each ball from the previous catch. He makes it look really easy up through, essentially 5 balls all at once. And then that 6th one, he's trying to juggle another one here, and it doesn't quite go his way. It's a good bit of fun, but it's also, just shows off some of Keyshawn Nixon's unique talent. Jaden Reed tried to follow the act here a little bit, but doesn't quite get nearly as close to Nixon as you might expect. Catching 4 punts, though, that's not too bad either. And while unfortunately we don't have any footage to show you of it, Kicker Anders Carlson did make an outstanding comeback from his poor week of practice leading up to it. He ended up going 9 for 10 on the night. Ultimately, that one miss came on a play where it was a bad snap too, so not entirely his fault. But ultimately, the main attraction for the night was
QB1 Jordan Love. Jordan, let's just start with that. How does it feel to have the overwhelming support of this fan base?
Yeah, it's awesome. These are the best fans in football right here, and they're coming out and showing it every time. So,
now they say good things come to those who wait. You waited 3 years. What has that done for you?
It's built a lot of work, grind, and just building on how I can become a great NFL quarterback, and just building with my teammates that chemistry. And, everybody's ready for this season. We're excited to go out there and bring back some dubs.
Now, the offense performed very well tonight. You've been your toughest critic throughout this portion of training camp so far. What else do you hope to accomplish before training camp's over?
I think just keep building that chemistry with all the guys. Just continue working every day, offense versus defense. We're making each other better every day. We got good on good, and it's a lot of great work out there. So just keep building that, stacking these days going into the season.
And keep up the good work. Jordan Love, everybody.